Hey, welcome back. Pearl Foy again. Hair cutting A to Z. We're kind of blocking it a bit because I need my board. But anyways, again, we're doing this very naturally, not fancy, but we're coming to you to teach you how to cut. Before I move forward to show you what's in the back, remember I've been telling you guys, diagram. See, I already know how to diagram. I don't have to diagram, but I've got my diagrams for every cut that we've done. Every cut, I've taken it, and I do these more to make sure that I teach you the finer details. What ends up happening sometimes, when somebody knows how to cut, they assume that other people know how to cut. And it doesn't always happen that way, as some of you have possibly been cutting and you've been wondering, why did this happen? Why is this continuous? What is going on here? Well, I'm here to answer those questions for you. So before we get started, let's talk about what we've done. Cameraman, can you see me all right if I move back a bit? Okay, so I just want to make sure, move my little roll out of here back just a bit, because we want to cover it. The first one we did was a zero elevation. Now, in viewing that, one of the things that we noticed was that you couldn't see what I was cutting because of my arm. You knew that it was straight because I showed you how to hold a shear, and you saw the result of the cut. It was straight. But the biggest thing is I want you to see it. So we're going to be taking this mannequin today before we get started on these few cuts that we're going to teach you today. And actually we're going to go to, we've gone all the way to E, and I believe we may be doing 3 cuts today. It's not like a full head. It's just teaching you certain aspects about cuts. So, so that you can see the result of it. All right, and you can know a little bit more about it. So the next one was the V. And again, that was bringing everything forward. And if for maximum length, for a sharper V, you want to bring it to the frontal or the forehead right here. And bring it straight out, and you're going to hold it at a 45-degree angle on one side and 135-degree on the other. And you remember that about the protractor. I'll make a protractor later. I don't have any room right now to make it, but I'll make one for you later. If not, make one for yourself. And like I said, you can go to the school supplies. I'm sorry, let me put my timer on again so we're not wearing you out. Anyways, you can go to school supply and you can buy protractors, and you can just, at least that gives you a visual. Are you going to do it all the time? No, you're going to develop an eye for it. You're going to develop an eye for seeing where you're taking it out and how you're holding it. Because remember, what are the 3 factors about a haircut? It's not just cutting. Sectioning, how you lift it or lay it down, that's elevation. Biggest factor is the surgery, the shears, how you cut it. That's what creates a haircut, those 3 things. Most important, of course, is how you cut it. So we did the V. We brought everything forward, and you saw that the hair wasn't really long enough. This is one that we did the V on. So what ended up happening, the result of that was we got this square right here. We got it down here. When the hair isn't long enough and you take it to a stationary position, it's going to then take that line with it. So those are some of the whys on why that happens. We could have taken it shorter, but I didn't really want to take it shorter. And what is that with people when they want the V? They don't want short, they want long. So these are things that you discuss with your clients before, or you discuss it with the person before. And sometimes you either have to tell them, look, it's not me, it's you. Your hair's not long enough. And again, I recommend mannequins. Mannequins, don't go doing it on a real person. Diagram, write them down. Write down your notes so you can go back and look at it and say, oh, let me see, that's what I needed to do. Write down everything for you. Your diagram is your instruction. Then we did the A-line. What was the A-line? Surprisingly enough, brought everything back. And it was the same thing, and we created an A at the nape area, at the lower nape. We subsectioned everything out and created that A. And you also saw that if we just brought it straight down and pulled everything back, how it created like a slight oval. So that would be like a soft A-line if you want an extreme A-line. And then again, you know that you can take it all the way up to the occipital if you want, into that center occipital, tip of the ear to tip of the ear right there. You don't want to take it higher. Then you're on top of the heel. We want to stay below the heel so it kind of cups under. And a variety of ways that you can do this. The 180, you saw the effect of what happened with it. I'm going to show you the mannequins that I did it on. On this one, we did it front to back. What happens when you do it front to back? Stays down. Cups under, stays down real nice. On this one, we did it side to side. Now you see a little bit more movement in there. It cracks up the hair a little bit more. Same thing on this mannequin. We did it side to side. See the movement. On this longer mannequin, front to back. It's not coming up. It lays down real nice. This one I can lay it down and it's saying, I'm not going to lay down. I'm going to come back up. That's because of all those little pieces that we did. Front to back, everything was horizontal. Strength in numbers, all those hairs coming down. So that's the geometry of this. That's the architecture of cutting hair. Today what we're going to do, let me get a towel so I can wipe off this board. Oh, I had one over there. And like I said, our classes are very casual. We're not fancy. We're not here to be fancy. We're here to teach you. We're here to give you the whys, to give you the ins and outs. If you don't understand some of the verbiage that we're using as far as the different parts of the head, excuse my back, you might think very strongly on going to section A1 because we don't cut there. We just give you the surgery. We just tell you all the different parts of the head, what they are, every little section, so that when you have a question and you say, you know, Pearl, I tried to do a 45-degree angle at the nape, all right? If you have a 45-degree angle at the nape, you're actually going to elevate it up because look, the nape is there, right? Where's your protractor? Where's the 45-degree angle? Okay, maybe that might be 135. That's 45-degree angle. So we've got an exact language that we're speaking. Visually, a 45-degree comes out like this. So with the head inverting down, it makes a big difference. Again, what's the importance about the area behind the ear? Most especially when you're doing an A-line cut. I'm going to leave that up to you to look it up. Those of you that have been seeing it, you already know what happens in this area. It's not you, it's a client. But knowing what to do about it is a big difference. And there's many factors. As we get shorter, we're going to talk a little bit more about that. And we are going to, like I said, you're going to learn a whole bunch of cuts. We will eventually be doing a clipper cut. So we went to, I erased it, we went to F. So we're going to start with our haircut G. And that's another thing. See, we're learning just like you're learning. We've never videoed before. So now we know haircut G. Haircut G is stationary center front to back. Center front to back. That means, okay, question mark. 1, 2, always put our ear in there. Let's make a better ear than that. I am a little picky about that. All right, parietal line, upper ridge, lower ridge, flat part of the head, nape, area behind the ear. What we're going to do is initially, you see the side area, we're going to take it from the parietal line to the center. In other words, the angle is going to be to the center. Does it look like it's straight up right there? Yes, it does. So, I'll draw another one for you. This is the front, parietal line, center part. In other words, all the hair is going to the center. A stationary guide to the center, front to back. Front to back. So all the hair is just gonna be directed there. What happens when I run out of hair? Do I go shorter? No, I stop cutting that part of it. I may have some in the back though that I need to cut. What I want you to see, this was cut side to side. What I want you to see is how it's going to relax that down. So first of all, I want to do the 0 because I want you to see it. I want you to see how that's done. I'm going to separate it from tip of the ear to tip of the ear at the center nape. Or I'm sorry, center occipital. And I'm going to do my very best to stand off to the side. My cameraman will tell me whether he can see it or not. And let's just hope that we don't have to stand on our head to do this. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to take that area off at the side, the longest point here on the flat part of the head before the head starts rounding out. And I'm just going to take it straight across. I've got a different cape on this time, so I know I'm kind of getting in front of you there, and I apologize for that. You notice I didn't say I was sorry, because when you say you're sorry, it means you will never do it again. Well, the likelihood of me doing that again, I just did it, becomes extreme. All right, so this is pretty thick, isn't it? We really can't see it. So I'm going to then subsection off our little happy face, the nape area. And remember, we're just working from right here where it starts curving to show you, and then you already know you would blend the sides, the flat part. All right, the option here is if we take the head down, you can shift that hair all the way down into that. All right, the biggest thing here, you're going to be at the very center nape, very center where the comb leaves the head. That's it, that's your center nape. So I'm just going to take that section down, move the others out of the way. And the thing that I want to make sure of is that I'm holding the hair properly. I've got an idea on my length about right there, but that it's straight here and it's straight there. Now I'm going to cut it sideways. Normally what I would do, I would take secondary position. Sorry, see what happened there? Take secondary position, and you saw that I used my index finger to pop that up. That's why I don't have it up here. See, I'd be on my wrist. Can't depend on that. Your fingers are what's going to guide that. So I want to make sure that that is straight and that is straight, and I'm going to make sure my shear is straight. I hope that is straight, because there you go. Let me look at it. It looks pretty good. All right, so you saw how that was cut. But see, this is it, how you hold your shear. I could stand on my head and I'd still have to hold my shear in the exact position. I wanted you to see it. Now because that's a center nape and that inverts in so much, now I'm going to bring the head straight up. And then we're going to then travel around it. We're not going to bring this back. Can anybody tell me why? It will create a slight lengthening, because when hair travels, again, remember I told you you're going to learn some terms. It gets longer. So what we want to do is we want that hair to be cut again straight down, and I'm just going to blend with it. Again, find my guide, and I don't need that. Traveling around the head form, I'm going to take a little bit less for you to see it. There's my guide. Again, my shear, nope, see, I have to travel at this angle. I'm not bringing it out that way, because then this part of the hair is going to travel. I need to bring it straight down from where it grows. I'm going to have to put my comb down. You don't normally put your comb down when you're cutting, but I'm going to have to put it down for you to see what I'm doing here. Straight shear goes right to the guide. And then that's a little bit shorter. Now what I would have done, if I was cutting a 0, I would have kept coming around and cutting and following the head form, not bringing it back. Follow the head form for a true 0. Otherwise, it's not necessarily, it may be a 0 cut, slightly angled down. What is that? That's an A-line. That's not a 0 anymore. That's an A-line cut. Okay, so now I'm going to bring this. Can you see me cutting, cameraman? Okay. Again, straight, making sure my shear is straight, Hair is straight on both sides, coming to meet that guide. And there you go. So now I'm going to drop this, just showing you in the back, just to shorten this a bit. Can we see our guide? Makes it very simple now that we can see our guide. Bring it here. Again, so you can see it. I'm holding it at an angle, coming towards the center, following the head form, just looking at that guide underneath. The comb is still getting in the way, so be careful about that. I'd be doing it this way otherwise, and I'm just going to go ahead and take that off because it's driving me crazy. Okay, bring that around. I hope you saw that. I think I almost nicked myself. That's what happens when you get too smart alecky. Okay, side to center, so here, again, straight. Cameraman said that he could see it. I'm going to come up like this for you to see it. Bring my elbow straight up. See the cut? I'm traveling around. That was there. This is traveling around it. I'm not moving it in any other direction. Now I'm at the center nape again. Bring this down. And there's very little to cut. And what do we talk about on the top? You've always got, you don't want to put your clips on you, but this is what I'm doing because it's so much easier. The natural fall. The natural fall of the head. Now take a notice how that is staying down since we did it horizontally. We didn't lift it up. So take a notice on that. Just up here, that it hasn't been cut yet. It's still a little crazy, but look at that, how it stays down. Now let me pull it up. No, it stays down. So horizontal cutting is a big factor. The only thing you have to be careful of when the layers, when it comes down, you can really see that horizontal line. And there's ways to take care of that too. So I'm just going to take this now. All I have is a few little things to snip off here. Following the guide, still traveling around. And traveling around. I would be walking around my client to make sure. Okay, so that is, again, now you can see about the zero, all right? And you can see now, look at that hair. We still have a little bit of flyaway, but still it's not as crazy as it was before. So what I want to show you now, the cut that I'm going to show you is going to be to the center top. It is a stationary guide. Bring my mannequin down. Now you can have your client sit down. Remember I told you, if you can't see it, goodness gracious, you don't want to bend over. Now I know you may not be able to see it, but when you bend over, it's a normal movement. You have to look at what happens. See that? It's the same thing. So what we're going to do, we're going to subsection it off the parietal line. How do we find the parietal line? Now one thing that I want you to notice, we did this side to side. I want you to notice that when we do it front to back, I'm going to be able to get this to go back without a lot of trouble. Right now we did it side to side, so we have all these little sticks trying to hold it up. We don't have a cement wall, all right? So I'm going to, I know that I'm not going to go beyond the parietal line. You'll be able to see it. I'm going to bring this straight up. I hope my mannequin doesn't fall like it's done in the past. This one has a history. And everything is going to come to this center part. You see how that hair is traveling over? I'm just going to take off, let's take off a little over an inch. Straight up, straight back. And then of course, this is my guide. Remember, front to back, still the same. All the way to the vertex. And find my guide, everything to that center line. And all the way to the vertex. Now I want you to see what happens here at the vertex. A little bit more length. Because we're following it all the way through the parietal line. The vertex is just above the parietal line at the center crown back. I hope my mannequin is straight. All right, this is straight up. You see that? All right, I'm going to move that over. And I'm going to take another subsection, hold it straight up, pick all of this up. I need it all. I'm going to a stationary guide. So what do I want? I want this center to be perfectly straight. And what this does, I can see my guide. I hope you can see what I'm cutting. Put my elbow up. Again, bring it back. And where's the parietal line? See, now that I know where it's at, I didn't have to section the top. I just brought it up. See that? See the guide? This is coming straight up. Everything is traveling to that center back. How do I find the parietal line? It's right here. Just take my comb. Now it goes down. Bring that over. Just that little bit. This is straight up. So that's called a stationary guide, front to back. Okay, now this is what I want to show you. Watch this. Now that I have cut that, look at that, stay back. I can't get this to stay back. Try and comb it back. Stay back. See it? That keeps coming forward. There's strength in numbers. It starts happening for you. And what we've done, do you see now where it's calmed down just a bit? So I'm going to stand over on the other side of this. Oops, see, I couldn't promise that, could I? I'm going to wet it again. It's starting to get a little dry. But then you'll see that both sides will go back. And again, just taking it all to that center point. We've reviewed a little bit. So I'm going to part it just a little bit off that center, so, and then again. And don't do that to your client. And you can see the guide. And this time I'm cutting on the other side, definitely back to front, because I'm standing on the other side. That is staying straight up again. Bring this over. This is straight up. All the way to the vertex. And that's just, you know, the parietal line travels around. Vertex is just in front of that, or on top of the parietal line at that center crown back. Okay, those tangles don't help. You see, this is just a stationary guide coming up. And again, keep traveling just a little bit. Am I being not as neat as I usually am? Yeah, because everything's going to the same spot. And I know where to stop. And everything comes to that center. It's cut. Everything comes to the center. It's cut. Now I want to show you something once I finish this. What's going to happen is we have created a slight V to the top, or a slight A. Depends on how you want to look at it. Let's hope that both sides are even, because I think I went just a little lower than the parietal line here. Now let me show you. The crown is going to be a little longer. See that, ever so slight, longer on each side. You can see that. Just a little bit shorter at the center and longer into the sides. Because we brought it all to the center, you've got a little bit of a flat area. That works out okay. That's the top of the head, but we brought it to the center. If we want volume on the sides and they want layering, this is how you do it. And it creates still yet longer layers. So let me turn this around. Come on, Tilly, quit messing around. Now, she's starting to get, she's got a definite corner here. So now what we're gonna do, we're gonna bring it to the center. This is the next cut. So this would be H. Let me make sure. Layered horizontal. Okay, stationary front, center, front to back. All right, now H is at the frontal area only. It's also called face framing that we can do. Are we okay, cameraman? Okay, I saw him moving around a bit. So I'm gonna put this here. And again, simple cuts. Like I told you before, you can take one cut and add another cut to it. You don't have to stick with the one cut. Many of the videos that you see, what I'm hoping that you get from the videos that you see, that you'll now start understanding, most especially about where they're at and what they're doing with it. And not just, let me tighten that, there you go. Not just cutting to cut, for you to understand what their concept is. And now when you look at cuts, you'll have a much better idea. So now we're going to H. Yeah, H. I've got this nice and wet, and we're going to face frame. Now on face framing and this type of cut, initially you're going to run out of hair by the time you get to the area behind the ear. That's just a normal thing that happened. We just brought everything straight up, we cut it straight across. Now what are we doing? We brought it straight up, cut it straight across. Now we're bringing it forward. What happens here? Do you see what I'm saying? We're going to run out of hair. That's just a normal thing. So let's see H. So we're going quickly through all of these because I know a lot of you are very anxious to get into the clipper cutting. And actually I'm kind of anxious to teach you that. It's a fun thing to do, but it's extremely, if you don't get this, it's going to be very difficult for you to totally understand clipper cuts and a little bit more room for making mistakes. So H is frontal, that's an N, frontal layer, and could also be called a frontal 180 because it's directed straight up from the frontal area. This is also considered a 180 to the center point. It's just brought straight up. That's all that means. So what I'm going to do, again, do I know where the frontal area is at? Yes, it's right here. Do I know where her nose is at? It's right there. So I'm going to take this, again, a stationary guide. Now, remember, this hair traveled up. One thing that I want you to take note of, this is the highest point of the head. It becomes lower in the front. Look at this. Let's draw another diagram. This is where your diagrams can really help. All right, frontal. We're going to the parietal line. Okay, pretty close. Do you see this? We brought everything up. This hair starts here. This hair starts down there. Are we going to be slightly longer in the front? Yes. When we get ready to cut this and this travels forward, it's going to be shorter than the area at the frontal area. That's just common. It's common sense. It's geometry. It's architecture. So you knowing this. So like I said, I'm going to bring it forward. And where's it longer? Right here. Because that traveled up. This is shorter because it's on top of the head and that's the highest point. So I'm going to take it to the center nose. Can you see this, cameraman? Do I need to turn the mannequin? No. All right. And I'm just going to take it straight up. All right, I'm going to come back right at the center apex, bring everything to the frontal, and my fingers are held straight down and the cut is straight up. Here's the variable. Could I have done it in this form? Yes. Now, another factor. This hair here, travel back, travel forward. It's going to create length. See, these are the things, these are the questions that you'll have, that you'll wonder, why did it happen? And there's your answers. It's where it's at. Now I'm just, again, still bringing it straight down, and take it all the way down to the flat part of the head. Bring everything forward, and you're going to see some face framing here very soon. And just to the area behind the ear. Could I bring the other forward? Yes, but I want you to see what would happen if I did. This back here. We know this isn't going to travel. See, it's going to stop. So, nothing to cut. So it's only going to go to the area behind the ear. The more of this cutting that you start doing, now do you see how we got rid of that corner? It's a nicer blend, softer, and no more heaviness. I'm going to lift this up just a scotch. Remember, our classes are just very normal, down to earth, nut and fancy. Now, here's your option. Where do you suppose this little square, that if I bring it out, otherwise you can't see it, comes from? From this corner, right here. Surprisingly enough, the length is coming, this corner creates this corner. So you have the option of bringing it out lower to the chin line and taking that corner off if you want. Do you definitely see it there? You look for the corners. That corner comes off of this. Can you see that? So I'm going to go ahead, and I could either do that or point cut it. Now it rounds it out just a scotch more. Don't go in too deep. Don't go in too deep. Okay, so I'm going to do the other side for you. I've turned her around. Again, part it off. Bring it to the center nose. Hold my fingers straight down. I want to have a guide. Bring her up here. Sorry. Oh, I tightened that. That's why she's not moving. Don't do that to your client. Move your head. Okay, see, that's what was making that loose. So are we straight now? Pretty straight. Okay, thank you. Yeah, my cameraman helps me out a little bit. Said she was a little crooked. All right, so bring that straight out. This mannequin drives me nuts because it keeps turning. And I should have put a towel there. Okay, I'm going to take my guide. I need a guide. And I can see it off this side. I know you probably can't see it, but it's right there. And again, notice that my fingers are straight down. I'm at the center nose, straight up. Again, a diagonal part. See it? Bring it straight out, right to that center guide again. The nose is my guide, fingers are my guide, straight down, the shear does the work. The way to the area behind the ear, bring it forward. Shear does the work. And then again, you see that little corner there. I'm going to bring it out. Same exact spot. And I'm going to comb under it a bit so you can see it. There it is. We are going to do just a little bit more, but now you can see it's even. It's a good haircut. So we've gone 30 minutes today. Tomorrow we're going to go ahead and do I, and that's your crown section. I do want to show you though, tomorrow within that cut, Now see how this is a little bit more relaxed. It's not flipping out so much anymore. And that's what strength in numbers does. All those areas. When we did tiny little bits and moved it up, tiny little bits and moved it up, it was uncontrollably choppy. But somebody with fine hair that wants more movement, maybe that's the cut to do. Somebody with really thick hair that doesn't need the movement, maybe this is the cut to do. Or the side to front to back, horizontal parting so that it holds it down a bit. Just depends on what they want. All those are factors as far as what decisions are you going to make to create what the client wants and a successful haircut. That's all up to you. Thank you very much. I hope this helps, letting you know what this haircut is. Haircut H, and haircut G was in front of it, so GH on both of them. We're going to mark it that way, but look at this. You see what that hard line does? I was having a heck of a time trying to keep her hair back, and now all I have to do is finger comb it, and that hard line says you're staying back. The soft lines do not. The soft lines give in. Don't be soft, be hard. All right? Okay, take care. God bless. We'll see you for our next adventure.